All right, you're welcome again. So, we ended the first video at importing the 3ds, the Revit file into 3ds Max and working on some little things to make sure that we have a good viewport and all those things we have done. Now we are going to move on to creating materials. Now, normally my workflow have changed. If you are familiar with my workflow, in case you have been following for a while, you'll see that I will set up the lighting first, then before I start thinking about materials and all that. And that workflow is still valid, but to me it's faster now to actually do the materials. You will actually adjust the materials later, but let's just quickly work on the materials. By doing that, by the time we are working on the lighting, we will know that we are working with a material. Before, what I used to do is I work on the lighting first, then I work on the material, and what that creates most of the time is I might need to be adjusting the lighting, to fit the material and all that. But in this case, with material in place, I'll do the lighting, and is the material that I will need to adjust. It's basically the same thing, just one seems to be well acceptable to me now than the other, which can change as time goes on. So that's just the way it is right now. And so, like I said in the previous tutorial, so if you are new to Revit and or you don't know Revit, or you want to really learn how to work with Revit, then I'll introduce you to our online shop or store thereabouts, where you can actually buy some of our tutorials. They are very useful. I'm not making this up. Most of the people that actually apply for this current tutorial that I'm recording, they applied because they have gone through some of these tutorials and they know that the quality is there. So this is the one that I'm going to recommend. It is Revit for complete beginners, and the advantage of it is you are going to be learning Revit fully, and also you learn how to render with V-Ray for Revit. So you are completely equipped with two major software. So in this tutorial there are 24 videos that you are going to be learning from. It was recorded before as a free tutorial, but now it is for sale, and at 55,000 naira you will get a great deal. One of the things you will also get is that you will get to interact with me, chat with me. If you run into any challenges, then you will get some supporting videos that will be recorded specifically to address your questions. So you can look into it. So this is the daytime rendering inside V-Ray for Revit. Everything that was done here was done from the scratch. Like, you don't know anything, you just open the software and you are just starting. You have not opened it before, so it's useful for people that are coming from AutoCAD background, or you don't even have any software background, but you are into architecture. Then you are in the right place. So you will learn how to work on survey plan, set everything is set there. So you can see this is golden hour, different lighting scenario we handled perfectly, and you can see everything is really cool. So I'll say that it's the best tutorial out there for Revit. So also, and now when you finish doing that, sometimes I have a guy that told me that what he does is he will make his floor plans in Revit, so in V-Ray. Sorry, I'm very sorry for this. My mind was divided somehow. So he will make his floor plans in AutoCAD, and take it to Revit to build up, to create his, elevations and all that. Then, he will take it back to AutoCAD to do his working drawings. That is a lot of stress. So I recommended that you should get these two tutorials. So you can see this is Revit for working drawings. It's completely for working drawings. Completely for working drawings. So very, very good, very, very cool. And you can get the two for 80,500 naira, because this is 55, this is 55. Now, if you are not a Nigerian, so you can still buy, because when you get to the website, it gives you opportunity to pay in many currencies. So if you are outside Nigeria, you are in UK, you are in Canada, you are in US, you can actually buy in your own currency. If you are in Ghana, if you are in Kenya, you can buy in your own currency. So there is another one. This is for interior design. So if you are an interior designer, you want to actually learn how to quickly make an interior. This is about 1 hour 30 minutes. Okay, it's about 3 hours tutorial teaching you how to do interior rendering. So very, very cool. Then of course, there is this complete deep dive into V-Ray for Revit. So this one is advanced way of using V-Ray inside Revit. So it's very, very cool. Now there is no Corona inside the Revit, even though we are dealing with Corona. So now the file that we are working on, I actually made a tutorial with V-Ray 5 for 3ds Max. So that particular file. Now these are the testimonial from people that have got it. So this, now you might be wondering, oh, this what's it called? This image quality is not like the reference image like this. Yes, it's not. And everything was explained in the tutorial, because we were playing with some options, and those options were actually messing up with a lot of things, but we eventually solved the problem. So you will get to see everything there, and you'll see that all the what's it called, are different to all the plans and all that. So it's better to go that way, because the amount of time sometimes, is just better for me to say this. The amount of time we spend, on creating images is totally different from the amount of time we can spend in recording the tutorials. So there will be a lot of back and forth. There are some things that are not meditated. So when you are working, and in tutorial you need to do everything sharp because you don't want it to be boring. So but everything was explained. The way I dealt with the materials on this floor, why this one is looking this way, everything was explained. And at the end of the lesson, actually we eventually got this output, but it was not rendered. So I just have to put it out there. But everybody that have bought it, they actually testify that it's a good tutorial. So they've really for Revit about 800 people or so have access to it, and they actually this one, I mean the beginner to Revit, they actually have a lot to say about it. So if you already know Revit and you just want to learn Revit for Revit, then I think this one will be the best for you to go with. It's 15,500 naira, and it addresses Revit for Revit heads on. It's like the basic that you need to know everything. Fast you get to do it and you move on. So you have the project file for all of them. This one is deep dive. This one is a quick approach. So they are not the same. Then we have this. This is a combination. I was going to change this. It's supposed to be 50,500 anyway. So it's the combination of this complete deep dive and this Revit for working drawings. So you have the two of them, and you have them in one. It's supposed to be 50,500, not 30,500, because it doesn't make sense for the one unit of the tutorial to be 35,500, which is 35,000 rather, which is actually higher than the combination of the two, which is supposed to be like around 60,500 naira. So please note that it's going to change when you check it. It's going to be 50,500. So thank you. And also there are some tutorials that are going to be coming up. Now let me just quickly chip this in. We have a tutorial coming up, physical class now coming up in Lagos. So I've talked about the Ibadan that is coming on the 21st till 8th of November, 21st of October till 8th of November. 10 days after, we have another one coming up on the 18th of November to on the 6th of December. 6th December 2024. So it's going to be in Lagos, it's going to be in Omole Phase 1, in Ikeja there, so in Ojoduya, and the price is the same. So if you are in Lagos and you would like to attend the tutorial, the physical class is a 3 weeks physical class, and it's going to really be very, very helpful to you. So the workflow is the same: Revit, Max, Corona, and Photoshop. The price, you can see it there. If you are doing Revit alone, it's 80,000. If you are doing exterior alone, or you already know Revit, you just want to learn the exterior, is 100,000. And if you are doing interior alone, of course, is 100,000 too. If you are doing everything all together, then we are going to be giving you at 200,000. I will say that the system requirement, you should have a minimum of 32 gig. It is safer, far and better to have that. So I've said this, so let's move on to something else. In the third video, I'm going to talk about this. Let's just continue. Okay, so I'm going to bring the 3ds Max file up, and I want to introduce you to something first. When you have set the stuff like this, you want to start working, the first thing you go is you go to render setup icon here, or you press F10. Sorry, pardon me, I wanted to press F10 and I mistakenly pressed F8, I guess, or even, okay, I pressed F10, and the F10 for the software that I'm using to record it, the F10 means stop the recording, so it override the 3ds Max command, and it stopped the recording. I have to start it over again, to get to this point. So you will use F10, but I'm not going to press F10 here because of my software. So now, by default, you'll see that we have the renderer. The renderer is Arnold rendering, so I'm going to change it to Corona. So after changing it to Corona, I'm going to close. So it means that Corona is what we are using to render. So now I'm going to select each element one by one. I'm going to actually, when I select it, by default, this is the way it's going to look. But I want to choose the move tool, which is this icon here. You can press M on your keyboard, no, W on your keyboard rather. M is for move tool on AutoCAD, not, sorry, on Revit, not on 3ds Max. I don't know why I'm like this. Okay, it's because it wants to rain here, and of course the rain is going to disturb a little bit. That's why it seems like I'm not focused. So we want to start applying materials. There are many ways to apply materials, but let's just open material editor, which is this by the side of render setup. You can press M on your keyboard to bring it up, or you can just press it here. So this is material editor, and what I want to do is I want to create a new material. But before I do that, material editor can come in different states, in different modes. So we have this slate material editor, which is actually the best, but some people prefer the mode that is called compact material editor. So this is the compact material editor. I don't like it. I liked it before, it's the old way of creating materials, but it requires some imaginations to work. So you need to be imagining a lot of things, because if you put a material somewhere, maybe you are creating a complex materials, you might not effectively trace it back to where you put it before. So I'm going to just click slate material editor. I prefer it. Then there's another option that I'm seeing now, dockable. I don't know, I've not used it before, but it means that I can dock it somewhere just like this. You can see. So but I don't, or maybe you can see, I don't like to dock. It looks somehow, some people prefer it, but this screen is not big. If it were to be on the desktop that is bigger, then I would have said it makes sense. But in this case, I don't want to dock it, so I'm just going to drag it out like this. So I prefer it to float, and I just adjust accordingly. So I need a material, and there are many ways I can create material. So let's start with the simple way, which is you just come to the material, to Corona toolbar here, and you choose open Corona material library. If you do that, Corona comes with a lot of materials. It has a library of its own, and these are the materials. You can see we have basic SSS, different ones, different options here and there. So the time is not okay. The time is not really much on my own side here. So we have flooring materials, glass, and all those. So I want to be quick as much as possible, so that I will give you, what is going to be really effective for you. We have nature, we have different ones, but there is a notification here. Important: Corona material library is being migrated to Chaos Cosmos. In future versions of Corona, the material library will be discontinued. What that means is that you will no longer be able to open material library like this. It is no longer be in Corona. It is moving to something called Chaos Cosmos. So what is Chaos Cosmos? I'm going to explain it here. I'm going to actually elaborate on it very well. So since in the future it is going to be moved, a lot of them have already been moved, and those are the ones that we are going to be using. We are going to be in the future instead of staying in the present. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to come down, and under the material library you see something called Cosmos browser. So what is Cosmos? Let's open it. So it's loading, and here is it. Now the first thing I'm going to show you is that you can see this GO there. So that's my name, Gabriel Oyekunle. So now you cannot use it without actually signing into your Chaos account, and it's very simple, straightforward. You don't have to fear anything about it. They are not going to force you to buy the software from there. So you go to chaos.com. So if you come here, you can just click sign in and accept all the cookies, and you can see there are different accounts, and you can create an account and just get it done. It does not cost you anything. So when you do that, you'll be able to sign in here, and you can continue. Now Cosmos have a lot of things, so and it is one of the best things that have happened to this software. So you can use it in Corona, you can use it in V-Ray, you can use it in Enscape. I don't know if it has really gone into Enscape yet, because Enscape also have its own material library. So but you can use it, asset library rather, you can use it in a software called Vantage 2, and you can see here these are the assets that I've downloaded. Anything you download, you will see it ticked like this. You can see, so all these materials are here. So I can go and choose, okay, what do I want? I want material. So I can see material. I can choose maybe bricks. You can see different bricks, that I can choose from. Now, instead of wasting time, let's go to brand. Now, if your network is bad, then this is what is going to be happening to your Cosmos. It will be taking time to load, and I don't like that anyway, but I need to let you know that it happens. Now, I want soil. Because I'm familiar with this, I know that this soil that I'm seeing here, they have displacement on them, so I don't like those ones. I don't just want anything that will consume a lot of memory. That's why I said you need minimum of 32 gig RAM to work on it. So I don't want anything that will be too much. So now the internet, because it wants to run here, the internet is totally, the network is totally bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect from the internet. And why is it going to work? Because anything that you have downloaded like this, you can always work on it offline. So right now I can go back to the home page and now choose material again and choose brand, so it will reset itself. So these are the things that the ones that I can access offline. So that's good. I can try and find one. So let me just select the grass object and isolate it. Now I can choose the Cosmos material that I want. I think I like this soil. Drag it and drop it on the object. So I'm okay with that. So now this is my workflow. After I've applied the materials, I can right click and choose hide selection. So why am I hiding it? Is because as I hide it, it will remain the ones that don't have materials on them. So another way I can create the material, because sometimes you can't just drag the material and apply, because in cases like this where 2 or 3 materials are on one object, so you need to create those materials one by one. We are going to get there, but let's say now this case, this is asphalt and this is supposed to be different. This is supposed to be interlocks, and unfortunately when it was done in Revit, it was the same material that was on there. So what am I going to do in that case? So I'm going to select this and press Ctrl to select the second one, and I can maybe use this, or let's see if there's any other one. I think I prefer this. So I'm going to drag it into the material editor like this, and I'm not seeing the preview of it, which is not right. So I'm going to select this kettle icon here. It's going to actually render all those materials for me to see them, and I can just apply it. You can see it is applied and it looks really cool. And after you are done with that, you can hide selection. So let's continue, and these are the things I'm going to be doing quick. So I'm looking for asphalt, and now I don't know what's happening. The system seems to slow down a little bit, but that's okay. So this is what happened. I'm using Corona. Corona demand a lot from your computer. That's one major reason that I always discourage people to use it. But it seems like a lot of people grow interest in Corona, and the problem of software of hardware, people are solving it. They are buying better computers now, so it's just better to teach them how to use it. So all these elements that I'm selecting, I want to have single material for all of them. That's why I'm selecting them. So I'm going to just come here, go and get concrete material. So you need to know the material you want to create, and nobody will teach you that. You are the one that know what you are doing, you understand, you know, your project, and you know the material that fits. So right now I'm going to maybe I don't want to use a reflective. I don't want something too reflective. So let me just assign this. Now, because I selected, multiple objects, now it's asking me, do I want to assign to the selection? I'll click OK because I want to assign it to the whole selection, not just one object that I dragged it on. So I'll hide it. And then I will pick all the fence. All of them. So I press Ctrl, I'm just picking them using my scroll wheel to scroll out, and pressing the scroll wheel down to pan. I think that's common with all the software, so just for you to know what I'm doing. So right now, just going to fast about it. If I can right click and choose similar, but there are some of them that I don't want to choose. So if you do that, all you need to do is to press Alt on your keyboard and to deselect the ones that you don't want to select. So I deselected all these, and now everything that I needed have been selected. So I think that's cool. So now I want to use a particular concrete. I think I like it on the fence. So I can drag it here. So you can see that it took a little while for it to drag. It's Corona that is at work there. So you can see everything is nice. I like the fact that everything is nice. Now, in some cases, for your own, you might not be seeing those details. You can see 3D Max is doing autosave because I supposed to have saved. I've not saved the file yet, but 3D Max is trying to do autosave so that if I lose this file, maybe something happened and it crashed, so I can recover the file back. So it's good that way. So now let's talk about what I was saying. I was saying that as I apply that material, you can see it's looking like the way it's going to look in real life, and it's because I enabled this option, use triplanar mapping. Okay, in this, it is actually real life scale, but if it is in V-Ray, so you are going to get two options here. Number one, use triplanar mapping and use real world scale. In this case, everything is okay, it is applied. So when you apply material, it's going to be the scale that is supposed to be in real world. So that is very, very important. And I'm going to stop the recording right now. Sorry for that, but it's already getting windy here. The rain is coming and it seems like the wind is going to be much. So right now I'm going to stop it, and when everything is done, then I'm going to come back to it. Thank you. All right, so the rain has stopped. So let's just continue. So I'm going to select this. The Cosmos. I think I will need a metal material for this. So let's just go metal. Yeah. So there are different metal materials. Just going to look for the one that I think is going to make sense. I think I'm going to use this one to assign it. So it's not assigned, so I can import it instead. Okay, it has done. So isolate. I think for this, I'm going to use that cobblestone again. Yeah. So now let's place the material that's on the wall. Now, there are two ways to go about this. I can use the pre-made material just like we have been doing. If I come to walls, I'll see different wall paints. and stones and all those things that can be used. So I'm just thinking if I should do that or I should create my own from scratch. But there is no need to create from scratch. I don't want to stress you. So let's just look for a nice white plaster material. Okay, I think this is nice. Of course, that stuff. Let's come back. So material, walls. So in this case, I'm going to, while the wall is loading, I'm going to select this eyedropper tool. This is to pick material from the object. So I'm going to pick the wall, and you can see the wall have two materials on it, and sometimes it can be very confusing. So I'll try and see, I'll detach the material from the main material. So it has two material. This gypsum wall, if I detach it, you can see it turns black. I can't see this from this aspect, so but it seems like I'm going to be using same material for both of them. When we get to the one that we are going to separate, we'll separate it. So let me just come and pick. It's not loading well because of the internet again. So let me just do like I did before. Disable the internet. So you can see now it looks like this. So I'm just going to go back home page. There is no internet, everything's seen somehow. So click it again, I'll close it and open it again. So now it will load without internet, and it should work. Sometimes Chaos Cosmos browser can be very funny. So but now I think it's loading well. Yeah. So material, walls, everything, you can see it's not giving me that nonsense. So this is stucco white. I'm not using stucco, so I'm using plaster. So this is what I'm doing. I'm dragging it down here, and when I want to change materials like this, when I have two materials, or more, then I can't apply. If I apply this material directly now, so it has changed it to just one material instead of two. So I'll go back and apply what it has before to it. So this is what I used to do. I will drag this material, I'll put it into sample slot A. Sometimes you don't see the sample slot in case. So maybe you have things like this, so the sample slot is not showing. So you just need to collapse the material, you need to collapse the map, and definitely it's going to come out. And sometimes too, you may have this on show incompatible material. So just come and disable it because they are not compatible, so you are not using them. So I will drag this and I will put it into our sample slot. So when I do that, then I will come to this material that I want to change. Okay, I have not told you, I said it in another tutorial. When you see the red like this, it's because you are using unsupported. You are seeing this material is not supported by Corona. That's why it's showing red like this. So I can right click on that material because I want to change it. I will just change material map type, and now it will bring me to this material map browser, which we actually have here, but now it's showing me here. And I'll collapse everything until I see the sample slot, which is the same here. You can see same material. Controller, it will not show it here, it will not show maps, it's just showing material here. So it's showing the material library that I created for our use in the office for some personal materials that we created. So that's why you are seeing this here. Normally it will not be on your own. So you click plaster smooth, which is the one that I dragged there and you click OK. So it will ask you, do you want to make it instance? So definitely I'm going to click yes. What that means is that the attributes, if you change it here, is going to change in the sample slot. So I have that, and you will see that all the objects that have that type of material have changed. They have really changed. So that is the essence of doing that. And I'm going to do the same thing to this. Just change instance, so it will automatically put it. It means that any object that we have in the scene that have that same material have been changed to the material that we have created. So now I can select this wall, select similar. You can see there are some of them that have, you know, the same type of material. Then I can hide them. So now I'm going to pick another one, which is this. Now you can see that it has many material on it. So it has this asphalt shingle. I don't know where that is, but let me isolate. Okay, it is here. So you can see. Okay, and the default wall, I have it there, the default wall. So what I'm going to do is this default wall, I will change it to this particular material too, because I think it should have it. So I have that material there. So I only need to change this. So this material, let me show you. It is that, and it applies to this floor too because it's the same material. So what I'm going to do is find a floor material. So I'm going to just go to maybe ceramic. No, not ceramic. Let's go to tiles. So you can see some tiles here. I don't know which one I will use anyway, but one of the things I like about Corona material is a library is that it has some really cool, nice materials, unlike, especially in tiles, unlike V-Ray. So maybe I should use this. This should look nice and simple and mature. So I'm going to just drag it here and move this over to this place. So I can change this shingle material now to tile stripes 60 by 30. So as instant, and you can see all of them changed. So there's a challenge in some ways for some of them. It tends to happen. It tends to happen because this is coming like this, and you know it is going like that because it's one surface. But this is like this. Well, we can leave it like that. We don't want to stress too much because the camera will not show all those. So we are cool. We are cool with that. So I've changed that material. Now I have an habit. Anytime I'm creating material like this, you can see they are becoming complex. So even though the materials themselves they are very simple, but yet it's becoming a complex creation. I'm having the list of them there, so I can delete anything that is not useful. All these materials are from Revit. They are not useful. All those textures rather. So I'll select so I can select this now, select similar and hide it. So because I don't need that one anymore. So I've selected these steps and it has a concrete. So let me draw concrete to concrete. I don't know, let me just pick a rough concrete like this. Okay, and like usual, put it into the sample slot and right click, change instance. So you can see it's done, and it applies to these two. So I can select those two. In fact, it applies to the ones inside too, and you can see here, because it's the same material, it's the same concrete material, so it applies to the top, you know, materials that are concrete too. So almost done with my material assignment. So let me choose this and check. So all the materials are already there. So this one have dark paint. I can select it and anything similar to it, hide. This, let me see if there's a need to change anything. There no need, so I can select it, select similar, hide, select similar and hide too. So you can see that the materials are not much, it's just the objects that are the assignment on the object that are complicated. So we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 materials that we have worked on. So now let me select this and see. So the material is already there, and one of the things I like is you see, if you drag it out here, you will see this navigator. So what it does is you can use it to actually zoom on the material. So this is the material, you can see. So now that I know that okay, this material is on this, I can select and hide all those objects that already have that material on them. So you can see that we are really getting out gradually. So let's select this wall. Sometimes you can just scroll up like this so that you'll be out of where is congested, and you can see on this too we have applied the material. It's very simple, straightforward. It's not going to take long to do. Before I do any other thing, let's just select all the windows and isolate them. So now this one is going to look a little bit complicated, but it's just the same approach. It's not complicated. If I pick, it has 2 materials on it, the glass and the window frame. You can see the window frame becomes black when I remove it. I'll drag it back, then the glass also. So in this case, let's just create the glass ourselves. Don't let us use the glass that we can find on the Cosmos. So I can change the material, and I'll just come under material here, choose Corona and choose maybe Corona physical material. So Corona physical material mimic the way materials work in real world, and I'm just going to work on it. So it has presets, and I think in this case we should use presets. So I'm trying to, but don't let us use presets yet. Let's just look at what we are creating. So what we are creating is non-meta, so it's not a meta object, so we leave it as non-meta. If it's a meta object, we'll change it to meta, and you can see that the appearance is different. So let's change it back to non-meta object. When I'm creating glasses, these are the things that I set. Number 1, I set the color to black. It's much more reflective that way. Number 2 is I'm coming refraction. So I'll set refraction to 1. That means it is highly refractive. Light can pass through it. So that's what that means. Here we can play with. Let me set the refraction back to 0 first, and let's now look at playing with roughness. So the lower the roughness, you can see the more glossy the object and the material becomes. So in that case, let's use like 0.2, and having done that, this level here, if I put it, I can't put it on 2, I can only reduce it 0.3 etc, but I'll just leave it at 1. So I can go back now and play with refraction, let's say 1, so it looks like a glass. So that's just it. You don't need to do much more than that. Opacity, all those things you don't need to do, but in some ways, you can play with the IOR. So the IOR is index of reflection. So if I put it on 3, you can see it is quite high. So I'll just leave it at 1.5 that it is by default for now. Now, if I don't want to do that, I can double click and change to preset. So I can change it back to default here. So it will go back to what it was before I set all those things. So here now I will change it to glass. You can see it comes out as glass normally. Instead of me to be setting it by myself, I can see some preset here. I can say change it to chrome object, but let's just go back to glass. It's that simple and straightforward. Well, for the frame, let's go back and check our meta. And scroll down. I don't know, maybe I should use this aluminum. So I drag it there, just like we have been doing. So you get the idea now. The idea is for you to be up and running with Corona render inside V-Ray. Sorry, I'm used to V-Ray, so pardon me. So inside 3ds Max. So now we have everything set for the windows. We can select all of them, hide selection, then end isolate. So I'm going to do the same thing for doors. Doors are a little bit much more complex because they have 4 materials on them, but it's still the same approach that we are going to be using. So I can just select the door. So it comes with 4 materials. One is door handle. So let's look at it. This is the door handle from Revit. You can see if I remove it. And the other one is door panel. You can see. The other one is the architrave, and the other one is door frame. Yeah. So it's very simple. The first thing I'm going to do is to change the handle to that same material that we use for the window frame. So now I can go to wood and scroll down. So let's use this cherry and okay, we drag it there, so that's good. So we can change the panel material. I'm going to be using the same material for all of them. So we change the panel material and you can see it fits. So of course you can rotate it if you want. I'm going to come back there. You can change the architrave and the same with the door frame. So if you are not okay with the direction that the grain is following, then you can change it. But let me delete all these textures that I don't need. So where is that material? Is there. So the diffuse color, you come to the diffuse color and you see the rotation in degrees here. You can change it to 90. Oops, that's for environment. Sorry. So this is for environment, but there's a W rotation here. Let's change it to 90 and you can see now it goes vertical. But when you do that, remember it has many other textures around it. So you need to change all of them to 90. These ones does not need, yeah, these ones are not needed to be rotated. So the bump 90. So I've rotated them, I've done everything I need to do. Let me hide them and end isolate again. So everything I'm doing, the hiding and the isolation is just because I don't want any confusion. So I want to make sure that what I'm working on is what I am supposed to work on. Now look at this. he made a very serious mistake here. He modeled this right, but the materials are two. If I pick them, you will see they have two materials on them, and really it's supposed to be one. So what I'm going to do is, for such, since he modeled everything together, which is supposed not to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create new material, or just come here, glass, different type of glass, but I just want a simple. This is the challenge. Glass, there are many presets for this glass, so I don't want to use tinted glass. Let me just use this neutral, even though they said it's for window, but at least we can find a way and work around that. So I'm just applying it like this. So I selected the object, I brought the material in, I click on the material, and I choose this icon, apply, assign to this selection. So I've done that. I'll hide. So material is actually very interesting and boring. So now let's select some of these walls. I want to finish work on the walls. So this wall also, the materials have been created, so I need to hide it. Let's check this. I want to have fewer walls. So most of these walls have been worked on, indirectly, because we worked on the other walls. So just select, you see, it's just the way that the person that modeled did. Yeah. Normally, if it were to be me that model it, then everything will have, when I click and select similar, it will have selected everything, because I will have considered that this kind of scenario will happen. So I will have done the needful, but you can see they didn't have the same material from Revit, whereas they're supposed to. Yeah, we are almost there. You can see again, still the same material all over again. So when you're working, always be mindful of that. If not, you will just be wasting time. And that's why I didn't fast forward the material process, because you might experience something like this. So let's just deal with the ceiling. The ceiling, select similar, and for the ceiling, I'm sorry that the mouse is making those sounds. I can't control it. I hate it. I used to record tutorials, and because of that I actually reduce creating tutorial, because the mouse was always making noise. But I've ordered for another mouse. It's going to be here soon, so no problem with that. I don't like mouse is making it. So Corona Legacy material, yeah, apply it and change the color to almost white, and that's all. I'm going to hide that. Okay, so you can see that the materials are no longer much. I'm just editing some of them. So this one also, the glass is a glass that was created where, okay, this, apply it, then this, just apply this to it. I know what he did there is he modeled those railings, and these are the screw that will screw the railing together to hold it to the wall or something. So I understand him. This, it has also been taken care of. So so for this, I'm going to use that ceiling material that I just created. This, just going to apply it there, hide. So you can see now all the objects are almost done. Almost done. I'm making sure that there is nothing that is not touched. This is a roof. So what I'm going to do there, get a roof here. I like this, so let me drop it. I usually use that. I don't know why I don't use the remaining ones. Nothing's wrong with them. It's just, sometimes when you have personal preference, you will just overlook even something that is good, that can be helpful to you. Sometimes you will overlook some of these materials that I'm not going to, objects rather, that I'm not going to be seeing directly, so I don't need to bother too much about them. So these two, I'm not going to see it, but let's just put maybe this material too. Normally I usually use wood, but let it go that way. This, select similar height. So I have this massive facade element, and it's black, so I'm going to go and look for stucco on the walls in a black material. Stucco black, yeah, good. So I'm going to pick this, put the stucco to sample slot, change, and choose stucco black, brown. That's all. And for the brick, I'll use the same material because that's actually what we used here. So no need to do, I don't even like too much material on the building, so definitely you should not be having too much material on the building anyway. And now we have successfully created a lot of materials. So even if I stop this recording right now and do all the remaining materials without the video, you will understand that we have covered everything that needed to be covered. So this concrete roof, I'm going to apply it on top of this. No, not this. This is the other concrete. Where is it? This. Here. I'll hide this. So we have this frame. So I'm going to just apply, yeah, hide, then the glass, hide. So for the door, there are some other doors. These two doors, they have glass on them. So well, let's just pick a glass here. Yeah. Again, I don't know, really I don't know which one to choose. Let's use this. So don't be afraid, choose the one you want to use it. If it does not work, change it. It is that simple. Don't say, oh, I don't want to make mistake. I don't even like it when people say they don't want to make mistake. Why don't you want to make mistake? Make it and correct the mistake. If people don't make mistake, we will not be developed. So just be sure that the mistake you are making is not going to be fatal. Yeah. I don't like these stuffs here, so I'm going to delete them. Unfortunately, when you link Revit, you cannot delete anything because what you are telling 3ds Max is, I'm just linking this. I want to change the visual appearance, but I cannot do anything about geometry. So I'm pressing delete on my keyboard, but it's not going. So what I'm going to do is to come back to this file, go to that graph law, I guess, delete this. I don't need it. So now I can go and purge, and you will see now I have 2 objects to purge. I'll click OK. Purge again. Just because I deleted that stuff, it's trying to purge everything. So let's see if there will be, is the remaining one. Purge. Now there is none again. So that was what I was trying to tell you before. So I press Ctrl S to save. Then I can go back now and go to reference and click manage links and go to files and click reload. So it will reload that file, but some things will happen, so I need to show you now. You can imagine we have worked on the materials and we want to reload. If you want to reload, of course, if you want to bring all those cameras that we have deleted back, I will uncheck it. The light that we deleted, I will uncheck everything. If you click OK like this, all the work that you have done, all this will be overridden with what is coming from Revit. So if you don't want that, make sure that keep 3D Max material parameters on reload, keep 3ds Max material assignment on reload. Make sure you check these two and click OK. If not, you will start creating your materials all over again. So let's just wait for it. Alright, so it's back, and you can see we don't have that furniture there again. For this pool area, even though our camera will not actually, we are going to have just one camera because we don't want to waste time, but yet let's go. I can select all those pool material. You can see model them, and again come to tiles, and as you scroll you will see pool tile. So this, I think I prefer this. So now we have this and we can apply it. That's just it. I don't know what's happening. You can see this material map browser is not showing again. So I can go back and enable it. It's still not showing. So it could be my computer. I believe it's my computer. It's the graphics card, I believe, because there's no point for it not to show. And you can see my name is there on the application, so it means that I'm using original license, so it should not be a license issue. So okay, I did this, and we have finished applying all our materials. So when you finish applying all your materials, just like I have done, I press zoom, so everything is done. So I can right click and on hide all. So everything that I've done now are on hide, and I know that now I have my materials in place. So the next thing is set your camera, set your light, and press render. Of course, there is more to it in the next lesson. Thank you.